Hello everyone, this is Tim, and I'm on another night ride. This is kind of a good spot for me to stop. It's a little table here, and I can put my bike light so you guys can see my face. You'll hear some frogs and some crickets in the background, I'm sure. Today I started working on my Machinations of the Space Princess setting. And I've been looking forward to making a sword and planet setting for a while. The idea of planet hopping is much more appealing to me than like plane hopping or like planescape. I would like to try to mix some science and fantasy and sorcery and magic and spaceships and kind of have a gonzo heavy metal sort of mix mash of all kinds of different stuff. And I think Machinations of the Space Princess will cover that and do it properly. I'm sure I'll have some house rules here and there and come up with some of my own stuff. The idea of trans-dimensional meditation came to me tonight, and I kind of think that's a pretty cool idea, where you puncture a hole through the reality of space-time and enter another dimension and are able to travel great distances faster than light. I was also thinking of things called like tunnel worms, where they crawl up into your nose and into your nasal cavity, and they have the ability to move about through other dimensions, folding space-time perhaps, to get to far-off destinations. The idea of being able to transport yourself is an interesting one, but I think most of the time you would just die. You would transport yourself to some place that wasn't safe. But it's something I'm considering, I'm thinking about. I was also thinking about the idea that depending on what level you are, or if you have been around for a while and have worked at it, maybe you can take others with you. Maybe you can take a ship with you. Thinking of the Spice Navigators from Dune kind of is in that sort of idea, I guess. I was thinking about stargates and wormholes, stable and or unstable ones. Just sort of kicking around a lot of different ideas. I just saw a movie tonight called Silent Running. I think it's from 1971. And there's a lot of sci-fi movies out there I think you could probably see, but I just want to try to bring in some of that flavor of being out in space, but yet dialing back technology to a point that it isn't all about blasters and physics and higher mathematics. It's more from the gut. It's things that bend science over the table and have their way with them. So, I don't know, something like that. It's late. I'm tired. I've briefly looked over the Machinations rules. It seems like it's flexible enough to handle this sort of thing, and I'm looking forward to trying to mold the system to the setting, or maybe even mold the setting to the system. It seems like I can use it without any problems and incorporate the themes that I want to. I think the setting is going to be just a space opera, space sci-fantasy with sorcery and magic thrown in there. Kind of like a kitchen sink setting, but there's going to be certain things that won't exist in the setting that, are just not going to be there. So I have to sit down and sort of think about what those are going to be, what I'm going to allow, what I'm not going to allow. Basically the physics of the setting. Not necessarily real world physics, but how the setting works so that it's consistent. The setting has its own rules that break our, natural rules and orders and all those different things. Math. Now, when I'm talking about heavy metal, you might think of heavy metal lyrics and music, but I'm more thinking along the lines of the heavy metal comic, heavy metal movie, the animated one, as a sort of inspiration for the setting. But there's a lot of things that could probably be in the mix there for how this works. what themes it incorporates. I started to generate the setting today randomly, for the most part, though I did tweak a few things here and there to make it more interesting. You know, things that were on the table that I didn't roll, I tried to, you know, put in various places, like the idea of an artificial star. That's something that James Desborough put into his game, and I just think that's a really cool idea. I don't even understand exactly some of the stuff that's in there. Like, I rolled up one thing for one of the worlds called a vacuum world, and I'm not really sure exactly what that means. You know, the lack of air, I guess? I'm not really sure. Maybe someplace like, you know, like the moon that has no atmosphere. But I'm not real sure. I'll have to look into that. And a lot of these ideas that are listed in here are pretty wild. Like, there's going to be colors of stars that don't really exist, at least to our knowledge. And I'm going to incorporate those into the setting, just to see, you know, just to have a little more flavor and flair. What's kind of cool about making all these different systems and stars and planets and moons is that it's really limitless. I could spend a ton of time on each of these planets, each of these moons, maybe even have an entire campaign in a very small section on one of these planets, and, you know, that would be the entirety of the campaign. But for me, I really enjoy world building to the point that I want to work on this setting for a long time. I want this to be something that, when I'm bored out of my mind, I can go design a new planet, or I can flesh out a new continent, or just religious, you know, theory on one of these planets. Another thing too that the game kind of takes into account is the sci-fi trope that each planet is like is one type of environment. Like Dune is a desert. You know, there's like water worlds, ice worlds, tundra worlds, a world that's nothing but plains. So it's kind of tropey, but I kind of like it that way. It's different. It's not something I maybe would have done myself, but I think it has a lot of room to have fun with it, to make each planet feel distinct and different. I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot, see what it's like, and maybe the players will think it's boring as hell. I don't know. Not that I even have players at this point. It's in the earliest stages. But lots of planets, lots of stars, lots of moons, and hopefully a lot of weird colors and psychedelic stuff will be in the mix there. You know, I hope to incorporate some things like you know, chemicals and drugs and you know, just sleazy space bars, or, you know, all kinds of just stuff like that, I guess. So very much kitchen sink, and I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to turn out. So I should probably get home. It's getting late. I'll talk to you guys later.